Efecto cascada.
Un podcast de Exploro.
Alright, so dear Explorers, welcome once again to Efecto Cascada, a podcast by Exploro, where we dive into the forefront of innovation, share insights from entrepreneurs, and uncover cascade funding opportunities. As you all know, in each episode we explore the latest trends in the digital stream, the arts, transformative technologies in the digital sector that are shaping our future, and the audiovisual sector. So, broadcasting from Pamplona, Spain, we strive to reach a global audience starting from European Union projects. So I'm Pablo Cid, Communications Lead from Exploro, and it's a pleasure to be your host for today's session once again. As you may have noticed, we are continuing with our remote podcast series. However, even if this podcast is in English, you can just always go ahead and activate those subtitles in YouTube so you can enable any other language. All right, so today we are joined by Vanessa Hannesschläger, head at European collaboration at Ars Electronica, a leader in steering their engagement in numerous pan-European partnerships. So she has a PhD in literature from the University of Vienna. And Vanessa is bringing a unique interdisciplinary perspective, blending digital humanities with creative technologies. So we'll dive into her inspiring work on the Realities in Transition initiative and how it fosters a thriving European XR community. So stay tuned as we dive into how this initiative is shaping a more inclusive and sustainable digital landscape and discover how XR technologies can actually drive social and cultural change. All right, so let's get started. So welcome, Vanessa. How are you?
Very much. I'm good, thank you.
All right, so do you think you could introduce yourself a little to the audience?
Yes, of course. So as you kindly mentioned, I'm the head of European collaboration at Ars Electronica. We are a company situated in Linz in Austria, and we're focused on the intersections between art, technology, and society. And we run one of the biggest media arts festivals in the world every year in the otherwise not so well-known city of Linz.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm the head of European collaboration in the festival department. I'm responsible for all of our European collaboration projects, which are at the moment 15. And I have a fantastic team that is working with me. And I came to Ars Electronica after having worked for quite a few years in the field of research. I was working on digital humanities, specifically, of course, on literature, because that's what I studied, but also on digital infrastructures for humanities research. And then at some point became curious to go from the theoretical to more the practical perspective. And so that's how I ended up at Ars Electronica, where we work very closely together with artists, activists, and technologists who are just interested in how the digital transformation is shaping or reshaping our society.
Mm-hmm. This is just awesome how you are linking both humanities with the digital stream. I've
Yes,
honestly
exactly.
never heard of it. What is it all about? Like, how can you focus humanities, which has always been in some theoretical kind of way, with the digital landscape?
Well, in the digital humanities, as in the digital arts and the media arts, there are actually not so recent approaches to really look at how technology can also contribute to developing new questions and to finding new answers to old questions, to find new perspectives through digital means. And that is, I believe, one of the core issues that we are dealing with in the current times. And so it's very interesting to work at this intersection where really also innovative thinkers in rather let's say established and historical fields like the arts and the humanities are trying to really rethink their understanding of what artistic practice and what philosophical thought is through the lens of technology. So that's how I also try to look at the world.
Yeah, it's beautiful how organizations like yours are linking the artistic field with the evolution of technologies, because as you said, it's just essential nowadays.
Yeah.
And Vanessa, what inspired you to focus on, well, promoting this European creative community?
Well, coming from the humanities and having always been driven by looking at art, at different forms of artistic creation, I think that, so in my understanding, the core way to understand how the world works and what is going on in the world is through artistic practice, to rethink how we understand everything that happens around us through the lens of artistic thinking. That has always been that has been how I have been looking at the world since I can remember. And when growing up, not quite as a digital native, but having had a very young childhood where the digital was not yet as present in our daily lives as it is now, and looking at how also with me growing up, technology grew up and so heavily impacted how everything around us works. To me, it just was a natural way to think, to say, okay, this is changing us, and the only ones who can help us understand what that means are the artists and the creators, who just have alternative ways at looking at the world.
So reality is in transition. Do you think you could explain in general terms what this initiative is, what is bringing, right, to society and so on?
Of course, happy to. So Realities in Transition is first and foremost a Creative Europe funded project, a 3-year project that started in 2022 and is going to end in January 2025. And Realities in Transition focuses on extended reality technologies. So that's virtual reality, mixed reality, augmented reality. And it specifically focuses on artistic engagement with these technologies, on critical looks at these technologies, on activist engagement, on community-driven engagement with XR technologies, because as we see it now emerging within, or let's say taking its place within society and within the technological landscape, XR technologies are really very much still industry-driven, market-driven. They're predominantly employed, if we look at our general perception of what extended reality is used for, like the classic picture of the person with the goggles, that's a gamer, right? So that's where the money in the industry for working on this technology lies. And this project is an initiative to put a little bit of a counter perspective, to enable a critical artistic perspective on this technology, on what this technology actually means, on how it interferes with our individual perceptions, but also how it impacts society at large, and also how it maybe develops in wrong directions, or also how artists can still explore this medium. Because if you look at the history of the medium, it's actually not so young. As an industry product, it is, I would say, still on the younger side, but artistic engagement with extended reality has been much older than the commercial products that we are now pretty familiar with. So there has been artistic engagement with the idea of extended reality, especially in the media arts, for 50-ish years, I would say, with this concept of extending reality through, well, first of all, it was screens. So that's the core of the project. We would like to engage with alternative looks at what extended reality is.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And Vanessa, what motivated the creation of this project? Because we can see that it's some kind of critique to society, right, for driving change and bringing sustainability. But why XR? What made you think, okay, let's include this?
Well, XR was chosen as the focus of this project by the entire consortium group, and maybe I should also mention who else that is. So aside from Ars Electronica, the project is being led by Chronique, which is an organization in Marseille, in France.
Yeah,
As
perfect
well
accent.
as well as Dark Euphoria, also an organization from France. Then there is Imal, based in Belgium, in Brussels. There is Container in Zagreb, Container Bureau for for Contemporary Art Praxis, if I say that correctly. And then we have LEF Festival in Spain. In Gijón, and also with a part of their activities happening in Madrid. And V2, Lab for the Unstable Media in the Netherlands, which was also one of the two and maybe the leading organization in implementing the residencies in the context of the project. So we set out together to do this project and to focus on this technology because in the media arts field, as I mentioned before, extended reality has been one of the main or one of the very prominent, let's say, topics that media artists have been engaging with for a much longer time than there has been broader societal awareness of the technology as such. And when it rolled out as an industrial, as a commercial product, and the way that it also took over the market, we sort of felt that the market development was sort of overtaking the reflective engagement with the technology. And that is why we decided to create a space where we can also give a voice to artists, where we can give space and opportunity to artists and creatives to really engage a little bit with what this technology means, how it impacts us through the artistic lens.
Understood. And for example, could you give us some examples on what artistic profiles are you looking for or you've been work with? Is it more onto the aesthetics or the user experience that you're focusing on, or what is it?
That's an interesting question. We were actually not so. We were trying to be very open in what we would be looking for to see who would be interested in engaging. And we actually had a very, I would say, diverse group of people, a very diverse community that we were able to build around this project and this initiative, which was very nice for us to see. So we really had a lot of creative coders and people really coming from more technological backgrounds, people with a big amount of expertise really in programming, in 3D modeling, and so on. But we also had a lot of very artistic perspectives where there was maybe an artistic vision, but not that much experience with actually, practically working with the medium as such. So that was, and then it was also very interesting to pair up people to find matches, how they can, find each other and work together. So that was one of the, I would say, also very successful results of the project, that we were able to do that.
And by the way, just so you just mentioned this, how did you find this sort of collaborations? Were there any, I don't know, problems when creating solutions for the initiative and so on?
Problems? No, I mean, challenging situations, of course, time and again. So I think one of the outcomes that we can really be most proud of is the final round of residencies that we did in the context of the project. So in the last summer, we had our final, in the spring, we had the final call for the final residency program that was then being implemented over the summer, and we did an experiment because for the calls before that, we called for, just individual artist creators who submitted their project ideas, and then we selected the ones that seemed most promising, and then all of them worked on their individual projects. in some cases also together in one setting. So they were next to each other, they were in the same place at the same time, but everybody was doing their individual project. Now, for the final call that we had, we called for 7 people who would make one project together. But we didn't define the project. We said we're looking for 7 people who would be interested in doing one project. We don't have the project. It's your job to invent the project once the 7 have been selected and come together. And then you make something. And that was exactly the idea behind that, was exactly that. Of course, XR is something no one person can come, or it's very rare that one artist comes with all the skill set that you need to make a really well-made, meaningful, working, impressive XR production, because you need so many skills. There needs to be somebody who has experience in storytelling and narrative. There needs to be someone who knows about space design. You need someone with 3D modeling skills. You need coding skills. You need somebody who knows stuff about sound, and so on. And so that was sort of the background to how this idea for this call was developed. And so at V2, at our partner institution in the Netherlands, in Rotterdam, where that residency was implemented, the colleagues put a lot of thought into how to shape this call, how to create this group, and then also how to accompany this group. And it was a really inspiring process. So I got here and there a glimpse into how the residency process went, and the way that this group found together and developed their project was really impressive to see, and the outcome was also fantastic. So we showed the final work that came out of that collaboration at the Ars Electronica Festival in 2024 this year, and it was truly amazing. So I would say that is one of the most inspiring success stories that came out of this project.
Yeah, this is just very inspiring. Do you think you can tell the audience where can we check this work? Is there
Yes.
uploaded anywhere?
There is a lot of documentation, both on the website of V2 and also on the Ars Electronica Festival website. So V2 website is v2.nl, and Ars Electronica is ars.electronica.art/hope. And I can also share the links, and you can put them in the show notes.
It's awesome that you don't limit. You allow these people that were working on the projects to just get outside their comfort zone and develop the solution that's going to address the challenges. But you were saying that there's people who need to know or have insights about sound engineering, perhaps, or visuals, coding. I imagine that this group of people had the chance to learn from one another, and it was a really inspiring path, right?
That was really nice to see that. On the one hand, I believe they just learned a lot from each other, but on the other hand, they were also able to very well complement each other. So what they also did, and they were sort of thrown into the water because they didn't know each other, none of them, before they got together. They also had to learn, of course, to trust each other, which is also an interesting aspect of technologies that are as complex as XR, that you always have to consider that you also need to work in a team, and you need to also, click together. I mean, a group of 7 people, as in this case, that's not that large. So if somebody doesn't click with the rest of the group, then there is a lack. And that was also something very fantastic to see how this group grew together to really make one thing, because they really became a team.
And Vanessa, actually, at IT offers XR labs, as you were saying, workshops, residencies. Could you share any other, if there are, because there's already a lot, impactful outcomes that you've seen out of this?
Well, one thing that we did on the basis of the workshops is also let's say a booklet. Yeah, it's a booklet with methodologies for implementing workshops around XR. So this is also one of our very proud outcomes, I would say. We implemented, I think, close to 50 or maybe even more than 50 workshops among the whole partnership in the context of this project. So we really did a lot of work, which is also, of course, the community-driven approach that led us to going that way. And in implementing all these workshops for different target groups, but also for working towards different goals, we learned a lot about how to engage with XR as a technology, as a medium, when working with groups, when working with communities. So there can be very different approaches, of course. Sometimes you would like to introduce the medium to a group. In other cases, you would like to create a space where people can really discuss and reflect on what this technology actually is. Sometimes you would even use XR just as a vehicle to talk about something completely different. So maybe you're discussing in a workshop the topic of outer space or of environmental issues, and you just bring in XR as a technology to trigger the imagination of the participants. So there is a lot of very different approaches to how XR can be integrated in community work like that. And as we did so many of such workshops, we learned a lot. We especially learned a lot about what you're not supposed to do, but also, of course,
That's
a lot
always
about
good, yeah.
what the best way is to work with communities. And out of this came this booklet with the workshop methodologies for target groups and for different audiences. And the Critical XR Manifesto workshop is also included there, actually, as a best use case. So that is also one of the fantastic outcomes, as well as, of course, the XR camps that were held. So we had 2 in person and 1 online, because XR is, of course, also a fantastic medium that can be used to meet each other in the online space. So
Definitely.
our colleagues from Spain at LEF Festival, they implemented a complete XR camp over several days, entirely online in a virtual reality that they had actually built themselves as part of the Realities in Transition project. The in-person XR camps were, of course, also fantastic, but this is, I would say, the most maybe the most unusual way to go about such an approach.
Do you think that even if the project is gonna finish in January 2025, these workshops or these camps could stay longer in educating society and so on?
We're at the moment very busy with documenting all the results and all the outcomes, also really making sure that all the work that we've accomplished really lives beyond the project period and also achieves some impact and also has some sustainable change, not just in the moment, but in a lasting way. And I'm absolutely convinced that there will be different forms of follow-up projects also to this one, because one thing that is very clear, and this is also something that we were trying to explore in the final exhibition of the project that we were doing this year at the Ars Electronica Festival, extended reality technologies are here to stay. So we need to definitely continue to work with artistic approaches to the technology to make sure that a critical engagement and also all the perspectives that we were able to learn and develop in the context of this project stay around to continuously give shape of how the technology develops and takes its evolution at large. So looking at all the fields where it has already been employed, I mean, that goes to training in different contexts. I mean, not only military is training in XR, but also pilots, also medical staff, surgeons are training their work skills in extended reality. But you can also see other medical applications. So you have XR technology being very widely employed already in psychological treatment and in trauma treatment. And there is so many applications where you can really see, okay, this has reached also real world applications. This will surround many people in their private contexts, but also in their professional contexts. And that's why it's so important to also keep artistic voices engaged in the conversation about where the technology is going.
You were saying, Vanessa, that you had a chance to showcase all of the developed projects at the festival. How was this? Or are you planning on hosting another festival for the peak of the project, for the ending of the project?
Unfortunately, not anymore. So the project is already ending in less than 2 months, which is, where did time go? But that doesn't mean that the engagement with the topic and with the technology is going to end. So yes, the funding framework for now is ending, but there will be, of course, follow-up projects, because also for us as an organization, but also for the other partners who are partnering in this project, XR is one of the key technologies that we would like to continue engaging with and continue investigating, where we would also like to see continued artistic engagement. So we will definitely, all of us, continue our efforts to also work further in this direction and in this exploration. And next year at Ars Electronica Festival, I am very sure, even without maybe at this moment a dedicated project exploring XR only, that we will see plenty of extended reality projects and artworks in the festival.
All right, Vanessa. So thank you very much for sharing all of the insights and expertise and your part with Realities in Transition. Now we are going to go to the very last section of the episode. So here's the game and the tradition of the podcast. So first, you're gonna have to answer a question raised by the previous guest, and then you'll be the one raising another for the next one. Okay?
All right. I'm getting nervous.
Actually, the question is a bit, but I'm sure there's no issue. You're gonna just handle it very good. So your question comes from Alberto Sierra. He's the CEO of Cronis. And so he's asking, do you know what a day equivalent is?
A day equivalent? I really don't. I just have to say no.
That's
I don't.
Completely fine, honestly. This is, strictly related with reporting hours when being granted a European Union.
A day equivalent. 8 hours.
Yeah.
8 hours. 8 hours are a day equivalent. Okay, that one I know.
Wow, I'm impressed, let me tell you, because once I received the question, I was like, what? But if you want, you could check. We here in Sploro, we have this software as a solution app, which is Cronis, and it's created to support your organization when you have to justify all the procedures, all these headaches when justifying hours and so on for your European R&D grants. So yeah,
well, that's very helpful.
He raised the question to make a bit of promotion there. But yeah, and then before you raise the question, I don't know if you'd like to offer a fun fact about yourself or your day-to-day work or realities in transition, whatever you desire.
Yes, I will offer a very revealing fun fact about myself.
Okay.
I, as a member of the Realities in Transition project, who is very dedicated to the project, privately do not own a VR headset. That is maybe a fun fact.
That's fun, yeah. Sometimes, even if you are very into something, doesn't mean that you have to, that your life, it's like that, right?
Exactly.
Okay. And then, do you have, Vanessa, a piece of advice that you'd like to give to our innovators community of any sort?
A piece of advice. Well, to always keep an open mind for doing, or an open mind and open eyes towards what's going on in the society around us, and to always keep thinking about how we can engage with that, how we can reflect on that, and how we can maybe contribute to the better for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good piece of advice to just anyone.
Yeah, I agree. And also, I would add, if you let me, never judge others' decisions or others' brainstorms, because you never know what idea can be the solution for our next problem, right?
Exactly.
Okay, Vanessa. So, what's your question for the next guest?
I hope I will make it easy on the next person. So I will stay in line with what we discussed today, and I will make it a very open question. I would
That's
like
good.
to know what their favorite virtual world is.
Oh, let's see if they have one. If it was me who answered that question, I would say probably the Sims world. That's just my childhood.
That's very cute. Yeah. I think for me, it's just, a Tetris screen.
Yeah, I imagine. Okay, so this brings us to the end of the episode. So thank you very much, Vanessa, for taking your time to be with us today and
Very
sharing
happy
everything
to.
about realities in transition. Thank you, and thank you, Splotters, for staying all the way until the very end. And we hope you gained valuable insights, which I'm sure you did. And as you saw, XR is actually fostering inclusivity and sustainability in the digital stream nowadays. So remember that this podcast is available on all streaming platforms. So remember to hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any episode or cascade funding opportunity. And until next time, let's keep exploring the fascinating world of innovation together. So see you.